Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel for this Saturday morning, afternoon or evening across where we may be at. I hope your weekend is treating you well and you are keeping safe out there. So today I want to talk about the LBC Radio news article, and it's called Online Misinformation About ADHD and Autism, a Significant Public Health Risk, Nurses Warn. Nurses warn they are having to constantly battle misinformation that has been spread online. Nurses warn they are having to constantly battle social media misinformation that muddles the public understanding of ADHD and autism, damaging morale and leaving staff on the front line of confusion, fear and skepticism. While social media has helped break down some of the stigma surrounding ADHD and autism, Nurses has warned it is fueling widespread misunderstanding about what the conclusions really are. Speaking at the Royal College of Nursing Annual Congress, nurses said long waiting lists, complex symptoms and an unstable political climate were pushing patients towards unreliable online sources for clinical advice. They have warned that the spread of misinformation online was having a direct impact on frontline staff, with one registered nurse describing the constant need to correct false claims as emotionally exhausting and time-consuming. Charlotte Glynn, who is the Women's Health Forum lead, said, while myths here and misinformation have always existed in healthcare, the speed and reach can reach larger audiences more quickly. Mental health nurse Claire highlighted that social media has created a surge in demand for services in autism and ADHD. She said platforms such as TikTok and Instagram have helped people to have open conversations and reduce the stigma, but also heightened expectations and have led to a misunderstanding of what ADHD and autism truly are. This information of public perception places strain on stretched services and individuals. Nurses are navigating longer waiting lists, complex presentations, and growing pressure to deliver rapid answers for a system designed for thoughtful-based evidence assessments. Therefore, it affects morale, retention, and emotional labour. For patients on social media can shape expectations in ways that do not always align with clinical reality, but they may arrive hoping for instant diagnosis and instant treatment, and more importantly, an instant transformation. AI-generated misinformation has been identified as a significant risk to public health in multiple scientific studies. I think this is a threat that we should take seriously, absolutely. Then Professor Lynn Wolsey, the Chief Nursing Officer at the Royal College of Nursing, has said this, and I quote, "There has been a worrying time in health misinformation online and social media in recent years, which is a direct threat to the safety of patient safety." To know that nursing staff within the NHS and other care establishments feel they are struggling, it is completely damaging to the community. I do understand that the NHS is stretched and causing problems to staff and patients. I do think we need to be more careful that patients and NHS staff are about not wanting instant treatment and diagnosis from the internet, and this may not line up with the clinical diagnosis from reality. I think the reason we are seeing such a surge and more direct services for ADHD and autism is that we're getting better at identifying it and treating the condition, and there is better research. I do understand, however, the dangers that are presenting upon nursing staff and patients who have to constantly fight the verbal abuse. Are worried about the staff retention issues is down to the NHS not having enough funding and not enough staff on the medical front lines to diagnose, treat or even assess or screen people who need the true frontline help. So as an autistic neurodivergent woman myself, I wanted to talk about this because to me it's important, and we need to get the stigma down, and we need to get the definitions of what autism and ADHD is and give clarity. I think also, yes, some patients are wanting to seek a diagnosis more quickly and seeming to want instant treatment or an instant diagnosis, and social media does not do that. It will help you identify traits, behaviours, things that you may identify with special interests and hyperactivity and intense structure, routine, eating certain foods, being sensitive to certain sounds, things like that. That's fair enough. I'm not saying that not everyone isn't not people don't have autism or whatnot, but we have to be so careful when it comes to an online diagnosis, because a lot of social media information is incorrect and infactual, and I think a lot of people do take that information as, oh, wow, well, they said this and they said that, and that's where I fit and that's where I identify. Yes, that's great, but again, don't take all autism or all ADHD information as fact, because it isn't. A lot of social media information is inaccurate or has missing information or missing research, and only they have snippets uploaded, so not everything you see on the internet is fact. But as someone who's autistic myself and has gone through being a volunteer for a local adult autism service, I can say that a lot of information online is dangerous, and we have to be so careful how much we rely on it. But again, it will give you a entryway into researching if you think you're autistic or if you're ADHD, if you suspect you're on both spectrums of ADHD and autism. Again, that is very common, that is often a dual diagnosis, but I'm not here to diagnose anybody, treat anybody, assume that anybody is ADHD or autistic, but we have to be so careful when we're handing out this information or recommending people to get assessed or recommending them to go to their primary care doctors or their GPs or clinical specialists to do with autism and ADHD, because again, it might not be the correct diagnosis to refer them for. So again, we have to be so careful when it comes to where we signpost people, where we tell people to go, because we're not medics. A lot of us online are not medics. We're people who live with the condition, or we're people who have family with the condition. So again, it's all personal lived experience, which again is valid. But again, we have to be careful when we say, oh, well, you might be ADD or ADHD, oh, you might be autistic, oh, you might be OCD, or, you know, we have to be so careful when it comes to telling people about medical diagnosis or ways to look into it. And again, I am very open about the dangers of misinformation online. When I was going back in the past to research for myself, there is a lot of autism misinformation out there. Like, a lot of it is aimed at children or boys or men, and that is not accurate, because a lot, again, females with autism present and look a lot different than males and boys. So again, not all information is accurate for everybody, but you will identify with some things that are online, which will be a helpful starting point and a research point for you to start your journey on. But again, please be very careful what sites you visit, be very careful on what information you're given, and if it's factual, if it's from a genuine site, just be careful where you look and where you find your information from, because again, online there's a lot of dangerous information that's been put out there by fake doctors, fake scientists. Just be careful with what information you read and consider it safely. Make sure you're reading it with someone who you trust. Make sure you're researching it with someone that you trust, whether that's your parent, a friend, a carer. Just take care out there, guys. Please be safe. Please be careful with the journals that you read, or any YouTuber or TikToker or any Instagrammer that offers you some information. Just be very careful with your sources from, and I hope that you find your journey. I hope you find the information you're looking for, and I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.